up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and y'all, let's get into the drama of it all. We are going to talk about Mr. Simon Guobadia, aka Porsha Williams' husband, because it's a lot going on. And for the past 4 hours, my timeline has been flooded with people and their opinions about this revelation of Simon possibly being a scammer, not a scammer, or maybe he married Porsha for a green card. Who knows? But let's get into it. All right, y'all. So the streets have been abuzz ever since the Neighborhood Talk posted this post. It says court documents show Simon Guobadia is fighting for U.S. citizenship, but his criminal ridden past keeps getting him denied. Bank fraud, credit card fraud, identity fraud, fake marriages, and multiple felonies. When the people saw this, we all was like, what's going on here? On top of that, y'all, they have a younger picture of Simon. Why did they put young scammer over it? The Neighborhood Talk is messy. So let me read the caption under this post. It says, neighbors, it looks like Simon Guobadia is fighting to receive naturalization from the U.S., but can't because he was cutting up while being in the U.S. on a visa years ago. It says court documents list Simon's background as the reason for his citizenship denial. In August of 1982, he overstayed his visa. In September of 1987, he pled guilty to bank and credit card fraud, a felony offense. In January of 1989, he was arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle. In 1990, he was arrested for ID fraud, but he didn't stop there. He would go on in 1991 to commit more credit card and ID fraud. He just couldn't stop. He had to be physically removed from the United States. However, before his removal, he used a fake identity to receive temporary residency status in the U.S. under the Special Agricultural Workers Program known as SAW. As part of that program, his temporary residency status was upgraded to permanent after a waiting period. In December of 2022, Simon attempted to use the SAW program benefits as a reason why he should be eligible for naturalization, but the U.S. said hell no, because he only got into the program by using a fake identity. It's important to note that even his marriages were listed as shams in this court documents. On March 13th, 2023, Simon filed an instant complaint and asked the courts to vacate the denial and remand with the instructions to grant his application. Simon is now married to RHOA's Porsha Williams. With all of this fraud and criminal activity, Simon is definitely giving Apollo Naden and Peter Thomas storylines a run for their money. They're shady for them last two lines. Why did they have to bring Peter and Apollo in it? But let's continue. So let's get into these court documents. Now, I'm only going to read 4 pages. There's actually 13 pages. And the first screenshot I got is the first page of this court case, and I thought it was important to add this, even though it wasn't added to the Neighborhood Talk slideshow, was to show that there is a case number as well as the day that it was filed. So it says that this was filed on January the 11th, 2024. So it starts off like this. It says, in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia, Atlanta Division. And then it goes on to state that Simon Ayer Guobadia is the petitioner. And then it says the actual order is this. It says, this matter appears before the court on respondents. Henceforth, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or the USCIS, motions to dismiss doc number 7 for the following reasons. The court grants USCIS motion and dismisses petitioner's case. So what that ending statement or that order means is that the courts ruled in the favor of the immigration services, saying that they were well within their right and to deny Simon's appeal because they had the evidence to back it up. So now I'm going to actually read this first screenshot of the court documents that was a part of the Neighborhood Talk slideshow. So it starts off like this. It says the case arised out of petitioner's application for United States citizenship and naturalization. The U.S CIS denied petitioner's application on July the 27th, 2022. The petitioner requested a hearing on this decision, and the denial was reaffirmed. The court derives the following facts for petitioner's complaint and its attachments. Petitioner is Nigerian citizen. Petitioners first entered the United States on August the 11th, 1982. He overstayed his visitor's visa. However, in 1985, the INS denied his application for adjustment of status. He was declared deportable and voluntarily departed from the United States on December 28, 1985. He then re-entered the United States in June 1986. Petitioner again overstayed his 6 months visitor's visa. In September 1987, petitioner was arrested for bank and credit card fraud and pleaded guilty to felony offense. He was arrested in January of 1989 for unauthorized use of a vehicle and again in May of 1990 for fraud. Thereafter, the agency began removal processes. Now, they do have like subtext about the part of the article that talks about the INS in 1985 denying him. It says petitioner adjustment of status application in 1985 was based on his marriage, which the agency deemed a sham because of the statement by his spouse that the two of them had not resided together and the marriage was never consummated. So it continues. It says in January of 1991, petitioner committed another felony offense, credit card fraud. In April 1991, an immigration judge held a hearing and ordered petitioner to be deported. On March the 4th, 1992, petitioner was deported and physically removed from the United States. Before his March 1992 removal, however, and on October the 24th, 1988, petitioner used a different identity to seek temporary residency status under the Special Agricultural Workers program known as SAW. He also did not include his criminal history on the SAW application. When his SAW application was approved with the misrepresentation and omission, he was given a registration card as a temporary resident on July 25th, 1991. As part of the SAW immigration benefits, petitioner temporary residency status was automatically converted to permanent residency status following the waiting period. And then it says to see USC 1160 A2. So I guess to get more information about how being a part of the SAW program can be turned into permanent residency. So then it goes on to say petitioner received his permanent residency card on April 27th, 1992, 26 days after he had been deported under his other undisclosed identity. On December 22nd, 2016, petitioner applied for naturalization under a second identity and was denied because his temporary residency status was unlawfully granted. On December 31st, 2020, petitioner filed another Application for naturalization. Following an interview with petitioner, the USCIC again denied petitioner naturalization application. The USCIC explained that he was ineligible because he had not been lawfully admitted for permanent residency. His temporary residency status achieved through the SAW program and benefits have been based on a different identity and disqualifying criminal inadmissibilities that was willfully concealed. On October the 24th, 2022, petitioner requested a hearing on this decision, and the USCIC reaffirmed that denial of his naturalization application on November the 15th, 2022. On March 13, 2023, petitioner filed an instant complaint in this court and asked the courts to vacate the denial and remand with the instructions to grant petitioner application. Now, they also have text down at the bottom, like another subtext, where it pretty much says the petitioner does not expressly request a hearing on the court's de novo review in this case. Doc number 1, 14, praying on de novo hearing of petitioner application for naturalization should the court deem it necessary. And then it goes down. It says the court does not find a hearing on this matter to be necessary, given that the further factual development is needed, and this matter can be fully resolved based on the arguments in the complaint and briefing on the USCIC motions to dismiss. That's basically saying that the court sided with the U.S. government, pretty much. So that's the end of the Neighborhood Talk slideshow. So before I give you guys my thoughts, I got to give a shout out to Miss Tisa Tales, y'all. Shouts out to her. Because honestly, y'all, she had been, like, she was piecing all of this stuff together years ago. And if you don't know who Tisa Tales is, she is a YouTuber. I know I found her around the time, the last part of Real Housewives. So I think that was like season 14. Was it season 14? Either season 14 or season 13. Porsha's last season is when I found Tisa's YouTube channel. And when I tell you, she has been piecing together Simon and Porsha's relationship well before all this tea came out. Plus, she's been the main channel I've seen that was telling everybody that Simon was a fraud and he ain't got the money we all thought he had. He was not really the billionaire or the millionaire we thought he was. So shout out to her for being ahead of the curve. Like, she was 2 years in advance ahead of us, y'all. She was breaking it down. So I just wanted to give her props. And I think she already has like two or three videos posted about this situation. So go check them out because it's normally really good content. All right, y'all. So let's talk about this. And bear with me because I'm tired and my back hurts for some reason. So y'all, if this situation is true, this is very crazy to me. And the reason why I say that is the amount of arrogance to file a complaint against the immigrations in the courts and to have that type of background that you have in history is wild to me. It is to know that you've been denied so many times because they have found in your file that you have pretty much done illegal things such as bank fraud, credit card fraud, identity theft. You out here driving cars that aren't registered in your name. Then you're using a program, the SAW program, the wrong way, where you found out that if you're in that program, depending on how it works out for you, you can end up with permanent residency with a worker's visa. And I just think that is so, like, the audacity to me to file this petition in March of 2023 and basically tell the courts that they need to tell the immigration that they're wrong for denying you and they just need to accept your application, knowing good and well that there's been plenty of times, if this information is true, that you have done wrong is wild to me. And the reason why I'm saying if this information is true is because I have yet to see People and Page Six talk about this, mainly because those are the two sources I normally get all of my Bravo information from, and I haven't seen them talk about this. I even went on TMZ and I didn't even see anything on TMZ about this, so I'm just kind of curious. I think this information is true, mainly because there's a court filing number, and I don't think if anybody really took their time to make a fake court document, you're crazy. But I am starting to lean on the side that I do believe this information is true. There's something about Simon that has always been scamish for me. And the reason why I say that is because when everyone was like, oh, he's worth $50 million, Porsha gotta come up, I was like, y'all, he never really showed it to us. You know what I mean? $50 million is nothing. Like $50 million is $50 million. And I did not see it in Simon's house with Fallon. I didn't see it in Fallon. I didn't see it in their kids. Like, they look like, and when I say their kids, I'm not saying that to like demean the children. I'm just saying they look like regular kids. When I see Blue Ivy, Northwest, who else is a kid with money? Rihanna's children's. They scream wealth to me, you know? Like the outfits that they are wearing, I know probably is like 3 payments of my rent. Okay? And that is nothing for them to put on. Their kids just gave regular middle class kids, where there's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, $50 million looks like $50 million, if you know what I mean. Whenever Fallon was presented to us, I was like, she not giving $50 million. Y'all's house isn't giving $50 million, especially in Atlanta. Like the way those houses are considerably cheap compared to other places, $50 million shows up in a different way. I would expect them to be on a house with acres upon acres of land if Simon was really worth $50 million. It just never screamed wealthy to me. And that's why when everyone was like, ooh, Porsha got to come up, I always felt like she didn't. I also didn't understand why she quit all her jobs. That made no sense to me, y'all. Made no sense to me. Why did you quit Roa? It's because you're a coward and you knew them girls was going to light you up, because you know for a fact what you did was raggedy as hell. And I don't care if any of the Porsha fans come across this, your girl was raggedy as hell. There's no way you're going to tell me, even if Fallon and Simon had issues, even if they had issues, what Porsha did still was raggedy as hell. I don't care if Simon was cheating on if Fallon was cheating on Simon with Jalen. That doesn't matter to me, because Simon was cheating on Fallon with Porsha. It doesn't, they don't cancel each other out. They should have been grown-ups and gotten a divorce the regular way or in the right way, but they didn't do that. So to me, all 4 parties are wrong. So there's nothing you can say to me that will justify what Porsha did. And with that being said, it was just like, girl, you're a coward, because you knew them girls was gonna light you up. On top of that, why would you get rid of your job at Dish Nation? I heard a lot of positive things about Porsha when it came to Dish Nation. A lot of people enjoyed her on Dish Nation, so I didn't get why she quit it. It was a job that you could do remotely. You didn't have to be in in the studio with them all the time. We saw you on Porsha Family Matters filming with them. You had your whole little setup while you were in the hotel and you did your thing. That didn't make sense to me. That really did make, that doesn't make sense to me, y'all. It don't. This whole and all Porsha had was her Go Naked hair and now these Amazon lives. And I'm like, and maybe possibly like some Fashion Nova promotions. But my thing was like, you were already making good money. And I think that's the other part that's always been peculiar to me about this situation is, if Simon had $50 million, there was no way I was giving up my millions. Porsha was already making money off of Roa. Like, she was living good. She had that really nice house. The best thing she ever did was put that house in her gave that house to her mama. So if she got to leave Simon, if he get deported, she could go live with her mama. But I'm just saying, it was just like, I was just like, you don't really need his money like that, because you got money of your own, in my opinion. All right, y'all. So let's get into my theory. And legit, this is a theory. It's not fact. Again, it's a theory, not fact. But my theory is that Simon legitimately got rid of Fallon or broke up with Fallon because, yes, they had issues, but I think Fallon did not serve her purpose, which was getting him United States citizenship. And the reason why I say that is several dates throughout this paperwork just kept jumping out at me. So the first date that jumped out at me was the first time Simon tried to do his naturalization process, and that was on December the 22nd, 2016. In the court documents, it says a petitioner applied for naturalization under his second identity and was denied because his temporary residency status was unlawfully granted. So I was like, okay, why are you trying to get a U.S. citizenship if you already have permanent residency, which you acquired in April of 1992? Well, I did some research and I found out that there's a difference between residency or permanent residency and becoming a U.S. citizen. If you're a permanent resident, they can revoke that at any time. You can work and you can live anywhere in America, but you're not allowed to vote. You can't get a passport and you can't get certain government jobs. Whereas a U.S. citizen, you can do all of those things. And mind you, America's ghetto. It is hot, fiery garbage. It sucks. But I can't lie that there are some perks of being an American in the sense of your passport means things or kind of has more weight when you go overseas. So I don't know if Simon was trying to do that in order to legitimize himself as a businessman or what. But to me, if you already got into the country by way of fraudulent means with the permanent residency, with the faulty paperwork, with the SAR program, I don't think I would try to chance it by trying to get naturalized. The next date that really screamed out at me was when he tried to do it again in December of 2020. It says on December the 31st, 2020, petitioner filed another application for naturalization. Following an interview, petitioner of the U.S CIS again denied petitioner's naturalization application, and that was due to them looking at the SAR program paperwork, and they said that he was lawfully admitted. They said he was ineligible because he had not been lawfully admitted for permanent residency. And that was due to the paperwork being faulty and him not adding his criminal backstory to the SAR program paperwork. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because in December of 2020, that is when Real Housewives of Atlanta began. The season 13 began. Season 13, the first episode premiered on December the 6th, 2020. So to me, that means that the ball was already rolling for Mr. Simon Guobadia because he was still married to Fallon. Fallon and him got married June 14th, 2019. And the only reason I know that is because when I was Googling for pictures of them, their wedding pictures popped up. And when I clicked on it, it actually was Simon's Facebook, and he was doing a appreciation post about him and his first anniversary with Fallon, and the date was June the 14th, 2020. So he was with Fallon and got denied U.S. citizenship. Then a lot of people speculated that him and Porsha started messing well before that time. So I think the plan was already set into motion. Again, this is my theory. It's not fact. My theory, it's not fact. But this is where I'm connecting the dots to. So he meets Porsha. He sees what she got going on, and he realizes what he has with Fallon is no longer working. So he goes to Porsha. Now, the other date that jumped out at me was the July 27, 2022 date, because we find out that Fallon and Simon's divorce was finalized on July the 27th, 2021. I found that out by way of People. People posted an article where they had a screenshot of Fallon celebrating her divorce, saying something to the effect, "I'm officially divorced, it's a party." And that happened. Now, I also looked up how long does it take for a person to become a U.S. citizen through the immigration process. And on average, it takes between 18 to 24 months. So you're looking at a year and a half or 2 years. So that makes me feel like Simon got denied and then reapplied right after his divorce with Fallon got finalized, because he was already with Porsha, because we found out about Porsha and Simon May 9th, 2021 with that Mother's Day post with her, Dennis, and Dennis and Porsha. On top of that, they had already started filming for Porsha Family Matters. Because we started to see Porsha, when we saw Porsha Family Matters, that was November of 2021 all the way to January of 2022 is when we saw when Porsha Family Matters ended, which means they filmed that well in advance. So I feel like Porsha knows what's going on, because a lot of people are like, maybe she don't know. I think she knows. Okay, I think she knows. And what makes me think that she knows is the excerpt in the court documents that say that he applied to have another hearing on October the 24th. And then they told him that, no, we're keeping the denial of your application status on November the 15th, 2022. Porsha and Simon got married on the 25th of November of 2022. That means 10 days before she got married, she knew, or Simon knew, but I feel like they both knew, that he was denied citizenship, and then they reapplied again and got denied again. But I think she knew. I feel like the extraness of that wedding, to have those 5 outfits or 6 outfits, the 4 dresses, like to have all of it. It was a beautiful wedding. I think was to be like a signal to the immigration that, hey, we are really getting married. We're taking this seriously. Like, let my man in, or let me into this country. I really do think that. And like I said, this is a theory I have. It's not fact. But this is just a theory I have, that they pretty much, or Simon pretty much saw Porsha. Porsha saw him. She thought he had the money and the status, and he felt like she had the status to help him get his citizenship, as well as to get him the fame and the spotlight he desires. That is just my thought about this whole situation. All right, y'all. So that's the video. I wonder what's going to happen next. Hopefully he don't get deported. I've been seeing comments in the neighborhood talks comments, and I also saw people online who are saying that they work for immigration, stating that sometimes you constantly appealing can lead to you getting in more trouble and they could deport you. So hopefully that don't happen. I mean, if you're not scamming anymore, then let them stay, I guess. But I also agree with the theory that I've been seeing a lot of people saying, that Porsha signed up for Real Housewives of Atlanta because she knew this was coming and she wanted to secure the bag for her and her child. And if that's true, I don't have no problems with that. If you got to make sure you and your kids are okay and you're okay, then by all means do what you got to do. But I am interested to see how this is going to play out on Atlanta. Like, if the new girls are going to come at her, I don't think Kenya and her are going to have a beef about this, mainly because it seems like Kenya and Porsha are friends now. They've been in each other's comments on Instagram, and we've seen them a lot at other people's events. So I don't think anyone's going to ask her about that. But I would love to see someone ask her about that, because I don't think Porsha is stupid, and I definitely think she knows what's going on. But she'll probably get away with acting like very ditzy, because that's what she normally does. But I definitely think she knows what's going on. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in the comments below and give me your thoughts. What do y'all think? Do y'all think this stuff is real? Do you think Simon out here scamming? And do you think Porsha knows? And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.